All right, Shalom, Shalom. Kal Halayim La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Much peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity of heart. To you and to you, I say Shalom. Um, it's the brother Batak back again through the spirit with another lesson. Lord willing, it be edifying. The title of this lesson is um Woe is woe equals world war or some along those lines. So I was thinking about woe watching this, well, actually watching this video put up about Remnant Save 144 Elder Yashawamba uh, of out of Dallas, Texas, and title of course is New News and Prophecy: How Iran War Will Backfire on E being Esau Edom, so-called white man. Um, and one of the scriptures he read in there said "whoa, whoa, whoa," which is in the book of Revelations. I might get it, Lord willing. And that inspired me to look up on ChatGPT and see what the word "woe" means, which we always say is means death and destruction, of course. But I just wanted to see what the chat says, and I wanted to compare it and ask it, does world war bring woe? It said I typed in what is the original meaning of the word woe, and does world wars bring woe? Because we the apostles teach that whoa, whoa, whoa is talking about World War I, World War II, and World War III, which is going World War III is going to be the end for America, which is going to be nuclear war. Um, um, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 5. Every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Roughly paraphrasing the scripture, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 5. So this is talk about the nuclear war that's going to happen as a result of World War III. So, original meaning of woe. It says the English word woe comes from the Old English word wa, I guess, um, which was an exclamation of deep sorrow, grief, or distress. People would cry, why? I guess why? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, please forgive me. It says, when something terrible happened, similar to saying alas or oh no today. The scripture says alas, alas. Let me see, alas, alas, that great city Babylon. So let's see, let's go get that precept. Of course, I spelled it wrong. Alas, alas, that great city Babylon. Let's see. Revelations chapter 18, verse 10. It says, standing afar off for fear of her torment, because of what the fire that's going to be consuming America's going to be consumed, and the whole world is going to witness their place burning. This place burning. It says, saying, "Alas, alas," meaning woe, woe, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour thy judgment is come. It's also other precepts. Um, let's see what that Greek word is there for alas, real quick. Revelations 18 and 10. NLT says, they will stand at a distance, terrified by her great torments. They will cry out, how terrible for you, O Babylon, you great city. In a moment, God's judgment came upon you, came on you. See, alas, 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 alas. The Greek word,
Strong's G 3759 Uai. Uai.
why, which means what? A primary exclamation of grief. Alas, woe. See, so that's what they're going to be saying. They're going to be saying, whoa, 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 you know? So go back here. In ancient texts, especially the Bible, woe became more than just sadness. It carried three main ideas: deep suffering or misery, disaster or calamity coming upon people, a warning of judgment. See? For example, in the Bible, prophets often said, "Woe to blank, woe to dot dot dot," when warning when warning that destruction or suffering was coming because of injustice or wrongdoing. And America's no different. That's why judgment is coming because of injustice and wrongdoing. And who did they do wrong to? They did wrong to the children of Israel, the apple of the Most High eye. If you read Zechariah chapter 2, verse 8, it tells you that the Israelites are the apple of the Most High's eye. And if you harm them, you are really putting yourself in a very, very bad position, man. You're bringing judgment upon yourself by what you do to those people, because the Israelites are a special people to the Lord. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. You know, for example, in the Bible, prophets often said, "Woe to blank," when warning that destruction or suffering was coming because of injustice or wrongdoing. Example, in the book of Isaiah, the 5th chapter, the 20th verse, it says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil." Here, woe means serious consequences or disaster coming. And that's exactly what Esau does today. So let's go get that precept just for edification's sake, because it didn't bring out the whole one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get it in the NLT. NLT that, baby. NLT. Isaiah 5 and 20. It says, "What sorrow for those who say evil is good and good is evil, that dark is light and light is dark, that bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. Sorrow awaits you," which is what? An example of what? Woe. Woe unto you. Death, uh, destruction. Let's see. Um, in KJV says, "Woe to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness." And that's exactly what Esau does. He say takes something that's evil and say it's good, like LGBT. He say that is good. Um, he takes something that's good and says evil. Like an example of that would be let me see. Damn, I don't have an example off the top of my head. Let me see. Hold on. Something that good. Oh, women being in order. That's- you know, men being the head of the house. Women being in order. You know, women. Yeah, that's the only example I'm gonna read. So women being in order. Children being in order as well. Men being in the household. There are many examples of what this world calls good, but it's really evil, and what's good in this world is looked at as evil. To Esau, because he's not a righteous individual. So going back here, going down, it says, "Do world wars bring woe?" It says yes. World wars are classic examples of woe on a massive scale. See, massive, very, very, very big. It says both World War One and World War Two. Let's see. Both World War One and World War Two brought enormous suffering, tens of millions of deaths, cities destroyed, famines and displacement, economic collapse, psychological trauma for generations. Because woe means intense grief, destruction, and misery, wars, especially global wars, fit that meaning very closely. In fact, the Bible sometimes describes large scale destruction and suffering as woes. See? For example, in the book of Revelation, disasters and wars are described as the first woe, the second woe, the third woe. See? World War One. World War II, and World War III. See? Simple way to think about it. Woe equals intense suffering caused by disaster or judgment. Things that bring woe can include war, famine, plagues, oppression, and national collapse. So, world wars absolutely produce woe because they bring mass grief, devastation to entire nations and populations. See? So, when the apostles teach you that woe in the scriptures is talking about World War One, World War Two, World War Three, the chat clearly backs up that very fact that woe means war. Woe means war. Woe, an example of woe is nuclear destruction, nuclear war. You know, gotta get around this damn shit. Okay. If you want, I can also explain why prophets in the Bible pronounce woe on certain nations and leaders. It connects strongly to justice, power, and oppression. Mm, this is it says in the Bible that when prophets declared woe, they were usually warning leaders, nations, or groups of people that their actions were going to bring disaster upon them. And that's the same thing. Let's go precept. Come on, man. Jeremiah 28 and 8, real quick. Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. It says, Jeremiah 28 and 8, it says, the people, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. And it's the same thing that the chat is describing. You know, the word to the Lord went out to the leaders to warn them about their ways, and if they didn't change their ways, that judgment is going to come down upon them. And the same thing applies for America. You know, if they don't change their ways, which they're not, you know, they're not going to change their ways. You know, the Most High knows that, but He still sends out that warning. But you know, these devils were set up to fall, man. America was set up to be destroyed. Everything is the way it is for a reason, you know, because this is the plan of the Lord that's going to come down upon Edom, the so-called white man. Um, he's warning our people, the Israelites, to change their ways and turn back. You know, that's what he's gathering. He's gathering his elect. That's who the warning is for. You know, the warning of destruction is coming upon Edom. They're not going to change their ways. Even if they could, they're not. You know, so that's that. Um, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 1 because it literally backs up what the chat just said. Jeremiah 1, and I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, and when then the word of Yahweh came unto me, Jeremiah, when he was a young boy. Behold, I formed thee in the belly, and I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. See, that's what the job of the prophets are. They're prophets unto the nations. And you know, the Most High's prophets are warning of Esau about the coming destruction of his empire, America. It says, verse 6, then said I, Lord, Yahweh, behold, I cannot speak, I am a child. But Yahweh said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee. And whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, said Yahweh. Then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And Yahweh said unto me, behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down and to build and to plant. Moreover, let me see. All right, so that's the point. So that's the job of a prophet. Prophesy unto the nations about their consequences, which is going to be nuclear war or destruction, nuclear destruction for America. Prophesy of their consequences of their actions. And Esau has done a lot of evil, and the Most High is going to judge him for it. In the Bible, when prophets declared woe, they were usually warning leaders. Esau, he's leading the world right now. You know, the international bankers, nations or groups of people that their action were going to bring disaster upon them. It was both a moral warning and a prediction of consequences. Woe as a warning about injustice. Let me go get that precept before I forget. Whoa, whoa, whoa. As you can see, woe is all throughout the scriptures, man. Revelations 8 and 13, it says, "And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of the heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 World War One, World War Two, World War Three, or to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the three angels which are yet to sound," because that's what the destruction. You know, World War One, World War Two, World War Three. Ultimately, World War Three is the destruction. So there are going to be three world wars. First war is past. First woe past. Damn it! I know. Come on, I just seen it. Let me type in first woe. Come on. Uh, just type in woe. Work with me now. Work with me. I might have spelled it wrong or something. Just second. Oh, second woe is past. Okay. Oh, Revelation 9 and 12. It says, "One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." So as you can see, you know, there's going to be three woes, which, according to this, chat, a world or global war can be an example of a woe. So let's read some more. It says, woe as a warning about injustice. Many prophets spoke woe against people who abuse power, and Esau is abusing his power. He's an example of that. A modern day example of somebody that's abusing his power. It says, for example, in the book of Isaiah, the prophet says, "Woe to those who make unjust laws," and Esau does that. Look up the slave codes of Virginia. That's the unjust laws. And then look up black codes, unjust laws. You see, and the unjust laws of today, alimony. That's against the law, statutes, commandments. So, child support, and there are many others. Abortion. That's an unjust law. But it says, "Woe to those who add house to house and field to field." This meant powerful people were taking land from the poor, passing unfair laws, exploiting others for wealth. The prophet was warning that this corruption would eventually lead to national disaster. See, and that's what the Lord is going to bring, because unrighteous dealings and just riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Let's go get it. Sirach chapter 10, verse 8. Or Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 8. It says, "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another." See? Because of all of the evil, the kingdom is translated. Um, let's see. In the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Ezekiel, oh, woe against corrupt leadership. Prophets also pronounce woe against leaders who misled their people. In the book of Ezekiel, leaders are compared to shepherds who feed themselves instead of the flock. The message was leaders were supposed to protect the people. Instead, they were exploiting them. Damn. See? Is that not the same shit that's happening today? Esau has power and he's exploiting the people. How is he doing it? He controls governments. He controls the currency that everybody uses. And it's owned by a private bank. He's exploiting nations. He controls nations by controlling the money supply. He's exploiting everybody just so he can, for his own personal gain. These devils are they're all about greed. They're greedy for gain, man. Um, so it says, so the prophet declared woe, meaning their rule would collapse and judgment would come. Yahushua, who the word English calls Jesus Christ, also used woe. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, Yahushua Hamashiach repeatedly said woe to you when speaking to the religious leaders, the scribes and the Pharisees. He criticized them for hypocrisy, oppressing people with the religious rules, speaking power and status instead of righteousness. Here, woe meant serious consequences for abusing spiritual authority. Woe as large-scale calamity. Sometimes woe referred to major disasters affecting whole nations. In the book of Revelations, the word the word is used to describe global catastrophes like war, destruction, mass suffering. This is why events like World War I and World War II fit the idea of woe. They bring enormous suffering across nations. The deeper idea behind woe biblically, I'm sorry, not women, woe often follows a pattern. Injustice or corruption grows. Let's get a precept on that. When the wicked multiplied, transgression increaseth. Wicked multiplied. When that means when they increase in numbers. I know I'm probably spelling it wrong. Here it is. Proverbs 29 and 16. When the wicked are multiplied, that means when they're increasing in numbers, transgression increaseth, evil increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. See? So when Esau increased in numbers, transgression increases. So that is what an example of injustice or corruption growing, because when they grow in numbers, corruption grows. You see, warnings are ignored. See, and a lot of people ignoring the warning. Disaster or collapse eventually comes, and we're seeing collapse. America's economy is collapsing because of this war, and they're gonna feel that woe. They're gonna feel that suffering. They're gonna feel that disaster, and ultimately that judgment, and that destruction that the Most High is gonna bring. It says, so woe is not just sadness; it's I think I'll make sure I'm getting off of the right exit. Um, so woe is not just sadness; it's suffering that comes after moral failure or destructive behavior. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm gonna close out by giving all praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Much peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing His word in truth and sincerity of heart. Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Shalom.